The Trump administration is recalling nearly 30 ambassadors and other senior career diplomats to ensure embassies reflect its
breaking news. And this time, it's not speculation, not leaks, not anonymous sources. This is real, unfolding, and already reshaping global power in ways most people haven't noticed yet. While headlines in Washington focus on domestic chaos, something far bigger just happened quietly across the world's embassies. The United States didn't just change policy, it abruptly erased decades of diplomatic memory in a single move. And what followed is exposing a shift that will not be reversed easily. Late December, career ambassadors with decades of experience received the same message. Pack up. Return immediately. No transition. No briefing handovers. No explanation. Entire diplomatic relationships vanished overnight. In capitals across Africa, Asia, Europe, and the Middle East, phones went unanswered. Negotiations froze. Long-standing channels of trust went dark. This wasn't reform. This was sudden absence. And in global politics, absence is never neutral. For nearly a century, American diplomacy worked on continuity. Presidents changed, ambassadors adapted, but institutions held. That stability was the backbone of American influence. Overnight, that backbone cracked. Over 100 ambassadorial posts now sit vacant. Half of America's diplomatic footprint simply gone. Not reassigned. Not replaced. Gone. Here's what makes this moment different from every foreign policy crisis before it. Rivals didn't need to attack. Allies didn't need to protest. The damage came from inside. When loyalty became more valuable than expertise, experience turned into a liability. Career diplomats understood something was broken not because they were dismissed, but because the world was watching how easily they were discarded. Foreign ministries across the globe noticed immediately. When embassies stop responding, trust erodes fast. When commitments depend on political loyalty, reliability collapses. Governments don't pause their interests while Washington debates itself. They pivot. They look for partners who answer the phone, keep promises, and don't disappear mid-conversation. That's when something unexpected happened. As Washington emptied offices, Ottawa stayed steady. No purges, no loyalty tests, no dramatic announcements, just continuity. Quiet, professional, boring by cable news standards, and incredibly powerful in real diplomacy. Canada didn't rush to claim leadership. It didn't celebrate America's stumble. It simply remained present. In Africa, Canadian diplomats continued negotiations on mining partnerships and infrastructure cooperation while American posts sat empty. In the Indo-Pacific, Canada maintained trade frameworks and security dialogues while Washington recalculated staffing. In Europe, Canadian representatives kept institutional memory intact as allies searched for predictability. This is how power actually shifts, not with speeches but with reliability. Here's the part few commentators are saying out loud. Global influence today is less about dominance and more about dependability. Nations don't ask who is loudest. They ask who will still be here next year. When American diplomacy began to look temporary, conditional, and politically fragile, other options suddenly became attractive. Canadian diplomacy operates differently. Ambassadors are not campaign rewards. They are career professionals. Governments change, but diplomats remain. Agreements survive elections. That continuity has always been Canada's quiet advantage. In a stable world, it mattered modestly. In a chaotic one, it becomes decisive. Inside foreign ministries, conversations shifted tone. Not dramatic, practical. Who can we rely on to finish this agreement? Who understands the history of this dispute? Who won't vanish after a domestic headline? Increasingly, the answer wasn't Washington, and this isn't anti-American sentiment. Many of these governments value the United States deeply. But value doesn't replace function. When embassies sit vacant and expertise walks out the door, sentiment can't fill the gap. Former American diplomats are now entering think tanks, universities, private consulting. Some are quietly exploring opportunities elsewhere. Brain drain doesn't announce itself, it drifts. Canada, with an expanding diplomatic service and demand for expertise, suddenly looks less like a neighbor and more like a destination. Meanwhile, Washington faces a deeper problem than vacancies. Credibility loss compounds. Once foreign partners adjust expectations downward, they don't rebound quickly. A delayed response today becomes a missed opportunity tomorrow. A broken negotiation today becomes a lost alliance later. And here's the strategic irony. While rivals like China and Russia will absolutely attempt to exploit diplomatic gaps with money or force, Canada doesn't need to compete that way. Its strength isn't scale, it's trust. In many regions, trust now matters more than leverage. This moment marks a quiet reordering. Not a takeover, a rebalancing. Countries aren't choosing sides. They're choosing stability. Look at the timeline. Over the next 6 months, international organizations will increasingly route coordination through diplomats who show up consistently. Development projects will favor partners with institutional memory. Security cooperation will lean toward governments that don't reset relationships every election cycle. Canada fits that profile almost accidentally. It didn't design itself for this moment. It prepared for governance, and governance suddenly became scarce. What's unfolding now isn't about humiliation or victory. It's about consequences. When professionalism is treated as expendable, systems hollow out fast. When competence is politicized, credibility evaporates. And when credibility goes, influence follows. The world doesn't wait for institutions to recover. It adapts. And adaptation is already visible. More calls routed through Ottawa. More multilateral meetings anchored by Canadian facilitators. More quiet acknowledgements that stability has become a competitive advantage. This is not a dramatic takeover. It's something more enduring. A shift from spectacle to substance.